Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the start of a new era in the Simsport Racing international community, the first official race under the new SSRI banner. The merger between two incredible sim racing communities is complete, and the place to race emphasises itself as the destination for virtual racers new and experienced. Kickstarting the first act of an enthralling chapter ahead is round one of the GT4 Championship from the stunning Kyalami circuit, South Africa. Former home of the South African Formula One Grand Prix, the 4.529km circuit has become a favourite amongst GT drivers following its rebirth in 2015 and its albeit interrupted addition to the Intercontinental GT Challenge calendar since 2019. Retro in its layout and characteristics, but modern in its appearance, the 16 turns offer plenty of overtaking opportunity and equal chances to prove your pace. The flat-out blast through the kink down to Crowthorne might be the obvious passing spot, but Sunset and Leacock at turn 6 and turn 11, and a brave and slipstreaming through Mineshaft into the Crocodiles will certainly have your hair standing on end. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tim Fulbrook, back to guide you through the action here and to kick off this first race in the new season of GT4 action. I'm delighted to be joined in the commentary box with Mr. Chris Hill. Chris Hill, good evening. Welcome back. Welcome to a brand new season of GT4 action. It's going to be exciting, isn't it? And we're going to get the first look at what this championship has in store for us here at Kyalami.
Good evening, Tim. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to SSRI. I'm just on a qualifying lap, so if I go a bit quiet, you'll have to excuse me while I try and concentrate, because I've got the concentration span of, what was I saying? But yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. GT4 this week, GT3 next week. Lots of exciting racing coming. So thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. Get back to the driving. Thank you very much to Mads Vang, Benjamin Simmers, Herr Yanis and Gabriel Hagias joining in the YouTube chat. Good evening. Welcome. You're here at the right time because qualifying is underway. But before we get things started, it's worth mentioning that the combined community now at Simsport Racing International has over 1,000 members, has logged over 500 sim racing events and sees more racing action than you'll just about be able to handle. It's a great time to get involved with this community. So if you do want to join Simsport Racing International, then please visit our socials. You'll find us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, or check out our website at www.simsport-racing.com, where you'll find our calendar of events, linked to Discord server and everything you'll need to know. Speaking of calendars, why don't we take a look at the 7 rounds that lay before us in this GT4 Championship. Here we are starting in South Africa, round 1 at Kyalami, a 60-minute sprint and no mandatory stop. And then we fly north into Europe, where the championship stays for round 2 at the Nürburgring, 75-minute event with 1 mandatory pit stop. We fly south to sunny Misano. The grid will be hoping to be under blue skies for our first double-header event. 2 30-minute sprint races at the third round of the championship. Fly north to Zandvoort and the dunes near the beach for another 60-minute sprint. Flag-to-flag action is always there at the Zandvoort circuit. Then we fly due west to Silverstone. Another 60-minute flag-to-flag event. No mandatory stop required. And then we fly south back to Italy, to Imola, for another pit stop race, 75 minutes around the Autodromo Internazionale di Monza, Imola. Then we fly north, back to the UK, Donington Park, 2 30-minute sprints to round out the season. A fantastic championship ahead of us, plenty of racing action to be had and plenty of different circuits. And the action is beginning right now. The cars are out on track, beginning their qualifying lap, so we can head over to the coverage. 20 minutes of this session as we look at the final corner here. Cars exiting the last turn at Ingwe to set up their first flying laps in qualifying at Kyalami. It is important to be up the front because we can see plenty of drama kick off in the opening lap. That long run down through the kink into the hairpin at Crowthorne is often a place for passing, but also for drama. Can see tears through that first heavy braking zone. Now here is Will Dendy on screen, the Mob 7 eSports car, number 28 McLaren, out there on track at the moment, currently setting the pace as we near the halfway point of the session. A 1 minute 49.5 is the benchmark for drivers to try and beat at the moment. He's followed by Robbie Stapleford in second place in the number 81 BMW. Then behind in the number 19 McLaren, it's Lewis Dykes in the second actually of the Mob 7 esports cars. So 2 Mob 7 drivers in the top 3. He's got 2 tenths to find on his teammate. Then it's Yannick Moller in the 143 Aston Martin. Great to see Yannick in action as he slides slightly wide there on the exit of Crowthorne. Manages to gather it up as he climbs up the hill towards the left-hander at Barbecue. It's a fantastic name for a corner. And I do apologise if you haven't had your dinner this evening, because we will be saying barbecue a lot. It's certainly making me hungry already. Yannick clearly weaving from left to right in the Mad Lab Motorsport Aston Martin to try and bring the tyres up to temperature and into the operating window. Seem to have spoken a lot about tyres after the most recent ACC update. We've heard drivers really having to relearn the rubber and make sure they can bring it into that working window and keep it there. Look after it, don't push it too hard, make sure it's kept care of actually over the course of the stint. And with 60 minutes this evening, there's plenty of time for drivers to just be a little bit too greedy on the rubber and find themselves struggling later on. Will Dendy's in pit lane, so as we pit halfway, he might be gearing up for a second attempt, a second run at pole position, but currently holds on to it. Moller in fourth, heading down the hill through Mineshaft. Then it's Rich Pixie, the number 80 Janetta, and Aaron Martin Pilkington on screen, 112 Simsport Racing Audi. He was our champion in the Sim Racing Hub International GT4 Championship, hoping to defend his title into this new era. Finding himself in a little bit of traffic actually on the exit of the left-hander at Clubhouse, then through the S's of 8 and 9. Shouldn't be getting too held up, but as the McLaren in front runs wide, might just drop back into the clutches of Martin Pilkington. They potentially hold him up. He's currently 6 tenths down on the fastest time. He loses 4 tenths alone in the first sector, and then 3 tenths in sector 2. So it's the opening 2/3 of the lap where Pilko drops time to Will Dendy. Hoping to see if he can gain that back in this final sector before he sets up another hot lap. Rounding out your top 10, Kieran Vidago in 7th, ahead of Dave Hedges, Regan Mitchell and Xander Vale up in the 808 Porsche Cayman inside the top 10. There's Andreas Garlin in the number 188 McLaren. There's Dimitri Shenkin P12 in the number 8 Audi. He heads another Audi, Adam Isalovic in the 111 car. Then it's Denise Pope in P14, the highest of our AM category runners, in the number 79 Janetta. It's great to see Denise back in the Janetta. I know she drove that in previous seasons on Simsport GT4 competition. She's currently 1.3 seconds off pole, down in 14th place, ahead of Baz Van Mellis, who rounds out your top 15. And Baz is a fantastic driver to watch. He's also reigning AM category champion in the Sim Racing Hub International, the SRHI GT4. So as these two communities come together, we're getting a mix of drivers who have won races in their own GT4 championships before this merger has taken place. Baz a champion, so we've got a number of drivers who have lifted the virtual trophy in this class on the grid this evening. So it's great to see such high caliber of racing, and as you can imagine, with nearly 1,000 or over 1,000 members of the community, it's no surprise that the best of the best are out here this evening in GT4 machinery, making these cars look absolutely fantastic. As Baz then comes through the right-hander at Crocodiles. He's fairly generous on track exit there, but you do have to be careful. You can run the risk of picking up a cut track and having your lap time invalidated right into the final sector. Yellow flags out the bottom of the hill at Crowthorne. There's a car off at the first corner. Baz just came out the final corner crossing the line. He's got 1.4 seconds to find. I don't think he found time on that tour of the Kyalami circuit. As Damien De Keyser comes into the left-hander at Clubhouse gets a big slide in the Pulse Motorsport 77 Porsche Cayman. And just to get it gathered up though on the run towards Sunset and in through the left and the right. Track falls away from you so quickly through that sequence of turns. It's easy to just lose the rear over the crest of the left or understeer off into the grass through the right at turn 9. Then you climb up the hill into the hairpin at Leacott. It's all about maximising the exit from the left-hander that opens on the exit as you charge down the hill through Mineshaft. Should be completely flat in qualifying spec. Up towards the tight right-hander at Crocodiles, braking and turning. Try and line up a straight braking zone. Keep the car nice and stable. De Kaiser running wide on the exit in the 77. All four wheels were off the track, but it looks like it didn't get a cut track. But they are certainly off track there as he clips that inside curb through the cheaters. It just launched the car. I've got a shot of the floor of his number 77 Porsche Cayman as he runs to the line. He certainly lost time, but I think he might still improve. No, he doesn't. Lost time in that final sector. 1 minute 51.6 time to be found. Here's Danny Deswart in the bright yellow and red Chevrolet Camaro. He clips the curb as well through the cheats. He's got traffic in front. That's another of the Pulse at Motorsport Caymans. Through the final corner, onto the start-finish straight. Danny getting an excellent toe on the run to the line. See if that improves his position. No, he stays 26. As he's stuck now behind the number 778 car in front. He's going to look for a way past, and he does. He sends it up the inside. Unfortunately, has to bail out of it fairly quickly. I think Danny was potentially a bit disgruntled with the traffic there. He pulls off and returns to pit lane. Will Dendy still leads the way, 1:49.505, the fastest time. It's only 1/10 back to Lewis Dykes in second place. It's a McLaren 1-2. BMW finished the top three. Robbie Stapleford now down to P3.160 off the pole position lap into the final 4 minutes of the session. All running wide. Dennis Berkman over the grass, and as he slows down, I think he's caused Aaron Martin Pilkington a headache there. The Audi driver having to back off and slow down quite drastically on the exit of Sunset. And that's going to cost him plenty of time through this middle sector as they run through the S's and then climb up the hill into the left-hander at Leacott. Dennis Verhoeven here in the number 86 Team Cripple Audi, heading down the hill through Mineshaft. To the right hand at Crocodiles. The Audi looking in fairly fine form actually. Looked pretty controlled into the braking zone there. Into the right hander at Cheetah, and he avoids the curb on the inside, but in doing so just runs out wide over the exit curb. I wonder if that's invalidated his lap as he runs around the final corner at Ingway to accelerate across the start finish line. Does he improve? Yes, he does. So despite that slight error at the penultimate corner, he improves by over 0.6 of a second, leaps up to P28. Great to see an improvement there from Dennis. We are nearing the closing moments of this first qualifying session of the season. 2.5 minutes to go. Regan Mitchell here on screen in the Zancho Simsport number 3 Maserati, heading up towards the S's. This car's going to be an absolute handful here at Kyalami, and I get the feeling that's exactly how Regan likes it. He's raced this car before in Simsport competition. Managed to drag some fairly competitive performance out of it. A number of podiums in this car. He's back in it again, reunited with the Maserati Gran Turismo. Down the hill then into Mineshaft. He's in P7 at the moment. We need to find some time. It looks sector 1 again is where Regan's losing time. He's fairly competitive in the second and third parts of the lap, but really it's sector 1 where he loses best part of 0.4 of a second to our pole sitter Will Dendy. Into the final corner. Ingway gets the car stopped and turned very nicely. This car without ABS or traction control. 4 wheels over the white line on exit, but I don't think that's invalidated his lap. Runs to the line. Does he stay in P7? Yes, he does. That's his best lap, though, so he does improve. Unfortunately, not enough to go further up the order. As we head into the final 1.25 minutes of this session, here is Robbie Stapleford, BMW G2 eSports driver, the number 81. Rounds Leacott, thunders down the hill, flat out in the M4. into the left hand. You can see the car wobbling and jumping on the suspension as it comes through the left hand. Straightens up the car for the braking zone into the Crocodiles. Gets a very nice exit though. The car looks very stable on throttle application. Then very committed through the right hander at Cheetah, but looks quick. The line looked good as well. He's actually backing off, I believe, just to find a bit of space on track and set up another flyer. A couple of yellow flags out there, one of them being yellow flag for the number 3. That was Regan Mitchell, stopped on the side of our screen there, but he's gone back to pit lane. Into the final 30 seconds now. Drivers are out of time if they're in pit lane. They won't be able to get back out on track and set up a flying lap. Yannick Moller, Rich Pixley, Regan Mitchell in positions 4, 6 and 7 have accepted their fate, as well as Richardson in the 24 Cayman in P9. Then Geordie Back, Andreas Garland, Denise Pope, Thomas Van Schaik, Frank Hott, Patrick Vanst, Simon Pike down in 23rd position. They've all accepted their best times as the timer reaches 0 and the checker flag will be out. Oh, a bit of a hesitation on the braking zone there into Crocodiles, and Lewis Dykes backs out of his lap time. So he's unable to knock Will Dendy from top spot, but Kieran Vidago certainly giving it a good go. The car all over the place on the run through the Cheetahs, and on the exit of the final corner, cuts over to the inside to pull off the racing line and stop. So he lost time. He lost that chance to snatch pole position in the dying moment. He pulls off to the side. David Hedges in the SSRI, number 88. McLaren, another driver still on a hot lap into the final corner at Ingway. Can he pull a magic lap out of the bag right in these closing moments up to the line? Does he improve from P10? Breaks the timing beacon, no. Stays in 10th position. There's a couple of drivers still out there on track. One of them is Dennis Berkman in the 222 Mercedes, the Mode 11 racing drive, through the final corner. Penultimate corner, sorry, at the Cheetahs, up to the final corner then at Ingway. Gets the car stopped nice. He looked fairly controlled. Clappers the curb on the inside, runs to the line, stays over to the right-hand side to reduce that distance to the line, and he nabs one extra position on that final lap to move up to P21. Chris Hill here. He's in the commentary box. He's also in the car. Out the final corner. Run to the line, Chris. What's it going to be?
Slow.
He improves, though. Well done. Up to P33.
Hey.
Good last lap there. 1 minute 52.3.
Thank you very much. It was much needed. I was having problems throughout. Well, that's a good qualifying session. Sounded good from what you were saying.
But Kyalami often produces exciting qualifying. It's a very technical circuit, isn't it, Chris? And there's a whole range of corners. The heavy braking zone down to the first corner at Crowthorne. You've got the S's. You've got some long, fast corners as well. It's a real mix.
It is. It's a difficult and technical track, in my opinion. Others might say it's quite easy for them. I do in the GT4, and as you know, this is the first season I've driven GT4. I do like the last, next to the last corner, because you can clip the sausage curb and you don't really go off that as bad as you do in a GT3.
Giving away your tips and tricks, Chris.
I don't think anybody will be listening to that.
So let's run you through the grid order then after the first qualifying session of the GT4 season. Will Dendy will lead off from pole position on 1 minute 49.5, the fastest time. He's joined on the front row by Lewis Dykes by Robbie Stapleford, who improved right at the death. Then it is the second Mob 7 McLaren of Lewis Dykes in third. He's joined by Yannick Muller's 143 Aston Martin. Then it's Kieran Vidago in P5. He's got Rich Pixley alongside him in the number 80 Ginetta. The Ginetta often quick around Kyalami, as such as it often leans to the characteristics of the smallest of the GT4s. Then it's the number 3 of Regan Mitchell alongside the 112 of Aaron Martin Pilkington in P8. Xander Vale up to P9 in the 808. The red and black came in on the right-hand side of your screen, sporting a Formula E livery, I believe, the Envision car. Then the number 24 on the left-hand side of your screen is Richardson's Porsche Cayman. That completes your top 10 on the grid. Then it's Dave Hedges and Dimitri Schenk in positions 11 and 12, Geordie Backer and Andreas Garlin. Then it's Adam Isalovic in the second of those brightly coloured and multicoloured Audis. He is in P15. It's the first of your Pulse Motorsports Porsche Caymans. Damien De Keyser up in P16. He's joined to his left-hand side there. Another Ginetta, that's the 79 of Denise Pope, who has Baz Van Mellis for company. Denise leading the AM category times in this first qualifying session of the season. She'll be pleased with that, to get a pole next to her name already. Then it's Tom van Schaik in the number 19 Audi. The number 299 Audi. Then it's Frank Hopp's 570 at McLaren, the purple car on the left-hand side of your screen, just exiting the shot. Then it's the 222 of Dennis Berkman alongside the 778 of Patrick Vance. Then we get in towards the second half of the grid. Simon Pike's number 14 McLaren. Then it's the 99 of Arjen Lermans. Nicholas Malott in the number 42 Cayman. We've got a whole heap of Porsches in this middle part of the grid. Mark Neuteling's 666 car will line up behind Evan Atafas there on the left-hand side of your screen, the number 78 Wild Things racing car. Then it's the very brightly coloured Camaro NASCAR liveried Pennzoil design, Shell design there from Danny de Swart. Then it's the 86 of Verhoeven, the Audi on the right-hand side. Then the left, it is Stefan Arvidsson in the white and black, or grey and black, I must say, Porsche Cayman. That completes your top 30. You've got an absolutely stacked grid. There's still more cars to go. It's Gavin Utley, Patrick Tractor and Chris Hill. He's down in 33rd place, the right-hand side of your screen. Wave if you're in the car, Chris. I can see you waving. In the sky blue and white McLaren. Then on the left-hand side of the screen, it's Jan-Paul Eikelenboom's number 31 Mercedes. Then it's Westenberg, Danny Herkstra, Cooper, Pierce, Fife, Vervat, and Joris Everleens that complete your grid. 41 cars tackling the race this evening. And there is plenty of space to go around here at Kyalami. 110 metres of it if you were to space this grid out equally around the 4.529 kilometre lap. Chris, lap one in these GT4 races, it's all about keeping clean. You can't win the race at the first corner, but you can certainly lose it.
That's absolutely true. Never a true word spoken by a man in the commentary booth. Well done, my friend.
I'll take that. Cheers, Chris. I mean, how are you approaching turn one then? Is it just get round and live to fight another day, or are you going full send?
It's be respectful to all the drivers around me. There's quite a few probably getting past me, even though I am near the back of the grid. Don't think I can get lapped on the first lap, but you never know.
Well, you want to kick off your season, you want to get a good, strong finish, and I think there'll be a number of drivers that will be thinking about the result tonight, but crucially about the result come the 17th of May at Donington Park, the final round of the championship. You don't want to be looking back on this first race at Kyalami, wishing that you had just done this, just done that. Maybe if I was a bit more conservative here or there, I would have banked those points that could see you champion. To end the season thinking, what if? Thank you everyone though who are joining in the action on YouTube. It's great to have so many people active in the chat. Please do let us know what you're thinking during the race, maybe who your pick for the win is. Any comments on instance or what you see on screen, get involved. We'd love to see you guys being engaged with the action. Herjanus, Aaron VD, Sem Racing, as well as Benjamin Simmers and Harry Melvin. Harry Melvin in the chat, go on Lewis. He's cheering on Lewis Dykes in the number 19 McLaren, starting from third on the grid. He had really good pace in qualifying. Top three separated by less than 0.2 of a second. I wonder though if the rest of the pack, and looking at Yannick Moller, Kieran Vidago, Rich Pixie, whether they'll have anything to say about that top trio setting the pace this evening. They'll certainly want to get involved and cause disruption, and really think that a driver like Robbie Stapleford or Lewis Dykes needs to get past Will Dendy at the start here to stop him controlling a race. That's something Will has done. I've commentated on him a couple of times in the past, and he's got really good race management when he's in control. Allow him to establish that control and do so at your peril. Now the front of the grid is heading up towards the hairpin. Chris, whereabouts are you?
Here. I don't even know the names of the corners here. I wish you'd talk me through them. I'm coming down here
rally co-pilot, shouldn't I? Should be going. This is a fast right crest, then you go up over crest into hairpin left.
That'd be really handy. It might actually help me go faster as well.
In the S as well, I was just about to comment on how long this train of cars is. The leader is now at the bottom of the hill, going into the right-hander at the Crocodiles as the pack gets a little bit of a hurry on to form up into formation. Chris is just exiting the hairpin at the top of the hill, so 41 cars certainly causes a long train of GT4 machinery, which I might add looks absolutely gorgeous in this Kyalami sunshine. Track conditions optimum, 21 degrees ambient, track 27. Fairly warm temperatures, but not too hot, not too cold. A bit of a Goldilocks position at the moment. We'll have to see how they get on. 60 minutes ahead of us. But also what waits ahead is an unbelievable GT4 championship. It's the place to race here at Simsport Racing International, and we wait the green flag to get action underway. Will Dendy will be looking to defend his pole position. 60 minutes on the clock. Stand by. Going to go green any second now. And the green flag waves, and they had crossed the start-finish line. Had actually gone under the lighting gantry before the race got underway. Will Dendy handed a drive-through penalty immediately. I wonder why that is. A start infringement, I'm sure, but he looked to pull away on equal grounds with the rest of the field. But up the inside, Lewis Dykes trying to get past Robbie Stapleford for P2 as the rest of the 41-car GT4 field funnels through the left-hander at Crowthorne and up the hill in towards Barbecue. They make it all through alive just. A little bit of dust kicked up in the background there, and look at this whole field of cars. But making a stellar start is the McLaren on the outside there. I think that's Kieran Vidago who's going to try and go the long way round. They're 3 wide through Sunset and in towards Clubhouse, but Stapleford runs out, closes the door in the front of the 71 McLaren to hold position. He holds on to P2 just as behind side by side now is Lewis Dykes and Kieran Vidago into the left-hander at the S's. Vidago has the inside line, but I think that Dykes is just going to hold on to it, and he does so. He holds on to P3, then it's Vidago and Yannick Muller in P5. Rich Pixley 6th ahead of Martin Pilkington, Richardson, Mitchell and Vale, your top 10 as they come into the hairpin at Leacop. On the exit, look at this stream of cars thundering down the hill. Yannick Muller putting 2 wheels on the grass there in the silver and yellow Aston Martin. Rich Pixley holds on to 6th, but he is being challenged by Aaron Martin Pilkington down through the mine shaft and into the right-hander at the Crocodiles. As they fly on through, the pack just starting to stretch out a little bit. Dennis Workman in 17th position. Up the inside of Denise Pope, looking for the AM category lead and getting it in the number 222 Mercedes. So at the end of the first lap, he will lead the class up into P16 overall. As they come across the line, it is Will Dendy that leads the way, albeit with a penalty to his name. He's got a drive-through penalty issued immediately as the track went green. Then it's Robbie Stapleford and Lewis Dykes, your top 3. Kieran Vidago, Yannick Muller, Aaron Martin Pilkington, Rich Pixley, Regan Mitchell, Richardson and Vale, your top 10, as looking to the inside. A number of cars on the way down into Crowthorne, overtaking opportunity sniffed, but none taken. Dendy now with nearly a second over Stapleford, who had to fend off a torrent of attacks there from the pack behind. Being from Lewis Dykes, but an audacious attempt from Kieran Vidago to go the long way around at Sunset, and it so nearly worked. There's a car off in the back of shot there. That was the number 570. I believe Frank Hopp's Audi is causing yellow flag at the Barbecue turn. And there it is. Oh, a very sad looking McLaren, front end looking all kinds of scraped and dented. That's a shame to see. Less than 3 minutes into this first race of the season. Dendy trying to streak clear, but he's not able to do so at the moment. Stapleford keeping touch on our race leader, and Lewis Dykes following in his wheel tracks as well. It's McLaren, BMW, McLaren, and then another McLaren. Kieran Vidago doing his best to hold on to the podium train as they just start to stretch out now and really begin to deploy their pace. Sem Racing in the YouTube chat, yep, 3 wide through Sunset was pretty epic. It absolutely was, and what a way to kick off the season as all running wide. Robbie Stapleford, and actually that's going to allow us attack from Lewis Dykes, and they make contact into the cheaters. The BMW sideways on the exit. Kieran Vidago is going to take it 3 wide again. No, backs out of it. Stapleford on the inside through the final corner. Lewis Dykes trying to go around the outside. They've already traded paint once in this race. I think they might do it again. Vidago's got a great exit. He's going to try and go around the outside of the King, which will become the inside into Crowthorne. Stapleford's going to move across and just block the line. Does Vidago go up the inside? No. Opts to back out of it and allow the two in front to maybe come to blows on the exit of Crowthorne. They both run wide. Dykes able to cut in line just in front of the number 81 BMW, which looks to the inside at Barbecue. Sends it late on the brakes. Does he get through? Yes, he does. Another passing move. Kieran Vidago really wants to get past though, and I think he might be able to make the move on Lewis Dykes. He's going to try and go around the outside again at Sunset, but no, it's not working this time. And this pack are just bunching up. They've got lap traffic already. One of the Pulse Motorsport Caymans is going to be in between race leader Will Dendy and Robbie Stapleford, who's now 2 seconds back. So there's blue flags flying ready for that car in between. So they come up the hill and in towards the left-hander at the hairpin at the top of the circuit. Fantastic views over the surrounding countryside. Not too far away from Johannesburg here at Kyalami. Through Leacop, down the hill into Mineshaft. And this, our third lap of the race. Kicking up the dust there over the inside was Yannick Muller, as well as Aaron Martin Pilkington, our reigning GT4 champion in the SRHI communities. The blue flag car gets well off the track to avoid any sort of collision. Robbie Stapleford, those held on to P2 as our race leader serves his drive-through penalty. Will Dendy, best opportunity to do that. He had a car in between. He had managed to muster up 2 seconds of a lead through that battling. He gets, I guess he thinks that might be the biggest lead he'll have this evening. He's going to tumble down the order though. It's not the longest pit lane here at Kyalami, but you don't want to be serving a drive-through early in the race. I suppose better to be serving it now than late on. Plenty of opportunity and plenty of time to make back the lost positions, but he's dropped down. I believe he's going to rejoin the track potentially outside the top 20. As Robbie Stapleford now takes up the baton as the race leader. Here is a replay. Frank Hopp contact there with the Cayman of, I believe, Evan Atafas, Wild Things Racing Machine. And unfortunately, that spins Frank Hopp to the inside. The outside on the run up the hill there. So he driver's right, head first into the barrier. You don't like to see that at any point during the race, let alone very early on. Fortunately for Hopp, that is his race called very early indeed. He's in pit lane and I believe retired from the event. Now look at this train of cars, a number of positions, nose to tail, nose to tail, nose to tail. One of them being Xander Vale. He's looking up the inside of the Ginetta. Oh, and there's a bump of contact. And I believe that's Rich Pixley who's now been turned and facing the wrong way. It is the number 80 Wild Things Racing Machine is going to tumble down the order as he tries to reverse the car on the grass. Gets facing the right way. Gets on his merry way, but look at that. He's fallen down the order. I wonder if he's fallen even behind Will Denty, who served that drive-through. As he comes through Mineshaft, but his race has been unravelled. A number of cars involved in that kerfuffle, though, at the top of the hill, at the hairpin at Leacop. Shame to see that, but it looks like he manages to get the race back underway. As now Lewis Dykes, locked in the slipstream of our race leader, looks for a move. Here is Dennis Verkman in number 14 Mercedes. There's Geordie Backer in front. He is now in the slipstream of the 808 Cayman of Xander Vale. Cut to a helicopter shot here, and you can see them side by side into the braking zone. Backer looks to the outside and tries to go as late as he dares. Leaves the door open though for Dennis Verkman, who sees an opportunity to get alongside the Porsche. On the run up the hill though, through the Just K sweep and into Barbecue, there's not quite the movers. Will Dendy sends one up the inside of the bright yellow Audi there, up the hill and into the left-hander. I don't think that was Dennis Verhoeven because that's a different livery. Thomas Van Schaik, there you go, the timing screen just updates for me. So he's making his way up the field. He's got a long way to go though. Gap down to Will Dendy from our race leaders is in excess of 14 seconds, 14.8 between Dendy and our race leader. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dendy throwing everything and the kitchen sink and then more some at this race to try and regain positions and get back inside the points. Stapleford leads the way though. This top pack is starting just to splinter slightly, a few car lengths now between the cars, whereas before they were all nose to tail. It's got 3/10 over Lewis Dykes, who's locked in behind, potentially biding his time. These two cars are very well matched on pace around the Kyalami circuit. So they come out the final corner across the start-finish straight. We get a good impression of who is faster in a straight line, and even with the toe, it looks like Dykes can't quite do enough to get a move initiated into Crowthorne. Stapleford holds on to the lead for now. Then it's Vidago 1.2 seconds back ahead of Yannick Muller, a further 1.2 seconds back, and Aaron Martin Pilkington 7/10 behind the Aston Martin rounds out your top 5 positions. That group somewhat disrupted by the incident a lap ago. Regan Mitchell, Dave Hedges, another one of the SSRI McLarens, down in P7. Then it's Richardson, Schenk and Isalovic, your top 10. It's BMW, McLaren, your podium. We do have Aston Martin, Audi and Maserati inside the top 7, which we love to see. Will Dendy making another move up the inside of the Pulse Motorsport Cayman there. That was Geordie Backer that was making his way past into Sunset. Now into the left-hander at Clubhouse, the number 28. McLaren is doing his best to start getting the moves ticked off. And moving his name up the timing screen. That timing tower on the left-hand side of your screens as Schenk in the Stubbenau Racing Audi is coming under fire from Isalovic from behind, but he's also looking for a way past Richardson in front, which is difficult position to find yourself in when you're looking for a move, but also looking to stop the move from the car behind. So Aaron Martin Pilkington has got past Yannick Muller for P4 now, so the 112 up inside the top 4. Didn't quite see that move being made, but we saw the second half of it. Got the job done, it looked like, down into the Crocodiles. The tight right-hander that opens up the final sector of the lap. And up inside that top 4, and with a 2.2 second gap to Kieran Vidago to chase down. Here's Andreas Garlin, number 188 McLaren. He swapped from Aston Martin in the last season of GT4 Racing on SRHI to McLaren. As we see, that looked like another move from Will Dendy, potentially on Xander Vale there. The inside into Crowthorne. Did he get it done? No, Vale fights back in the Envision Racing liveried Cayman as they head up the hill into the left-hander at Barbecue. Dendy again sends it in late on the brakes, slides out wide, tries to close the lane off in front of Vale, who loses momentum over the grass. Both drivers slow on exit, and they're actually coming under fire from Backer, who looks to the inside into Sunset, manages to get past Vale, nearly had a go at getting past Will Dendy as well into Clubhouse. Dendy up to P11. Time lost though in all this passing. He's lost a couple of seconds to the race leaders. Gap is now 16 seconds between our race leader Robbie Stapleford and the number 28 Mob 7 GT4. Xander Vale defends to the inside now. He's coming under fire from the McLaren of Andreas Garlin. Goes to the outside. Can't quite get the job done there, and again leaves the door open for Dennis Workman. Can't get the job done on exit, files into line. 5 cars, look at that nose to tail. You do very much love to see GT4 action this close, and you get the feeling this is just a shop window for what we've got in store for the rest of this season. Xander Vale defending around the outside there at the Crocodiles. Now here is Denise Pope. She started the category from pole. She's now in P3, but the 2 cars ahead, they're going side by side. Thomas van Schaik still looking around the outside for the lead in class. This is the top 3 in category. Dennis Workman holds on to his lead in P15 overall on the exit of the final corner, but I get the feeling that there's going to be 3 cars arriving at Crowthorne all looking for the same position. Down into the first corner, Workman defends to the inside, and Pope's going to hope to follow the Mercedes through. and get past the number 299 of Thomas van Schijk through the left-hander. Can't quite get the job done though, and on the run up the hill, Evan Atafas also looking for a way past the Ginetta, his teammate. To go through the left-hander though at Barbecue, and on to the shoot down towards the long right-hander at Sunset. The order has stayed the same. Clear intentions though from Thomas van Schijk's Audi. He wants to get past and lead the class and get P15 overall. Up the hill then, into the left-hander at Leacott. Sending it up the inside goes Regan Mitchell. That was a brilliant move. He got the car stopped perfectly on the brakes there. Fair play to Yannick Moller, left plenty of space. I say it was a send, but it didn't look like it at all. It was a very clean pass actually from Mitchell on the run through the hairpin. He actually looked like he was trying to open the door there on Aaron Martin Pilkington. Slides slightly wide into the Crocodiles. Able to just file back into line behind the 112. The 143 car is still behind. So the order as the first quarter of this race is in the books. Robbie Stapleford leads the way, but it's by only a quarter of a second over Lewis Dykes, who you can barely see behind the rear wing of the BMW M4 GT4 as they head down the hill and into Crowthorne. Different lines through the opening proper corner. The kink is listed as turn 1 on the track map, but it's Crowthorne that's the real first turn with a heavy braking zone as well. Stapleford Dykes your top two. Then it's 2.3 seconds back to Kieran Vidago. He holds on to the final podium position for now. I'm sure he will be happy with that, but he'll be hoping that the drama kicks off in front once again. An audacious move around the outside at Sunset on the opening lap. So nearly worked. Method in the madness. He found himself running in front of Stapleford and Dykes if that had come off. Then it's Aaron Martin Pilkington who leads this triplet of cars on the screen. Regan Mitchell in the middle in the number 3 Maserati. Zanso Simsport driver again looking for a move on the brakes into Leacott. The lane's not there though. Martin Pilkington able to just hold off the advances of that number 3 car. Behind Yannick Moller in close company in P6. So thunder down the hill and into Mineshaft, and the brake lights ablaze as they come into the Crocodiles. So it looks like we may have had a yellow flag out for another car. It looks like Denise Pope has tumbled down the order, so I wonder if the 79 Ginetta has been involved in an incident. She's no longer battling for P15 overall in the lead of the AM category with Dennis Workman and Thomas van Schijk. So it looks like Denise Pope has come to blows at some point in this last lap. A shame to see that battle undone there, as Denise Pope and Rich Pixie, the 2 Ginettas, are now outside the top 20. It's a shame to see both the drivers putting in really good performances in that car. Get the feeling that they've been unable to really produce the race result that they deserve, and for a really good qualifying session for both drivers. Up the hill into Barbecue then comes Adam Misalovic in the Audi. He's got an Audi in front, McLaren behind. So 111 looks to the inside of Dimitri Schenk in the number 8, the black and green car, followed by the multicoloured Simsport Racing machine. Then behind it's Will Dendy's now up into P11 in the blue, black and yellow accented McLaren 570S, number 28 car from Mob 7. As they go into the S's. Here's a replay then. Wonder if this is going to be Denise Pope. Yes, she looks to the inside of Thomas van Schijk into the Crocodiles, and a little bit of contact. The most obscure of touches, just enough to send that Ginetta, the number 79 car, spinning off to the inside and into the grass. That's a big shame. And then up into the Cheetahs. Oh, nearly contacted one of the Aston Martins there, but it looks like she might have been able to escape that one, and both cars continuing on. I think that was Arjen Lermans in the number 99 Aston Martin Vantage. As we return to this battle with Adam Misalovic here. unable to get that move done on Dimitri Schenk. Now he might want to get that pass done shortly if he can do so, because behind is the very racy looking Will Dendy, who's been climbing up the order after that early drive-through penalty. Remember, he started the race from pole position. Now is only just getting back inside the top 10 after 7 laps since his stop. And there's another move up the inside into Crowthorns, gets it done on the brakes. I'm sure Isalovic will try to cut back, or might just accept that Dendy is somewhat of an unstoppable force at the moment. It hasn't been easy for him. We have seen a few slides, a couple of opportunities to make passes that he's had to really open the door for himself. So such is the complement of drivers on this grid. It's not been easy. 40 minutes to go, he'll certainly be giving absolutely everything to continue his climb up the timing screens. Stefan Arvidsson on the inside. There's a Cayman quartet here on screen, headed by, I believe that's Cooper. Then they're nearly 2x2 on the run up into Barbecue. Arvidsson looked to the inside. There's a slow Janetta up ahead as well. He's just pulling over to one side. These Caymans, it's Cooper, Evelines, then side by side is Arvidsson and De Keyser. De Keyser's up the inside, as it looks like Arvidsson was just running wide there through the sunset curve. Then it's one of our triplet of Kamaras, I believe, CK Vervat behind in the number 33, but look at these 4 Caymans nose to tail through the S's. Black and orange. Black livery with orange wheels for Cooper in the 48. He's chased hard by the light blue and black liveried Cayman of Joris Evelines. He's actually managed to get a great exit on the Leekop, and on the run down the hill into Mineshaft. He's up the inside, and they're going to be side by side through the left-hander and in towards Leekop, in towards the Crocodile, sorry. And up the inside, Damien De Keyser sniffs blood, sniffs an opportunity, puts his car in a great position there. The yellow Cayman moving past the blue and black car. This aerial shot just showing you how the cars are moving around on this track, the lines they're taking, the passing opportunities they're going for. 5 porks on the barbecue, says Sem Racing. Absolutely, it smells good. They run through the kink and down towards Crowthorne. Some brilliant corner names here at Kyalami. Some circuits really lack the character with turns 1, 2, 3 and 4. It's great to know that Kyalami has held on to its historical corner names after its rebuild and rebirth in 2015. The Kink, Crowthorne, Just Case Sweet, Barbecue, Sunset Clubhouse, the S's, Mineshaft and Crocodiles, Cheetah and Ingwe. It's great to hear that there are corner names to be able to throw at the commentary this evening. Gives it plenty more character. And here's a driver with plenty of character. Regan Mitchell looks for a way past Aaron Martin Bilkington into the Crocodiles. There was definitely a tap between the front right of the Maserati number 3 and the rear left of the 112 Audi. Martin Pilkington not going to roll over easily and allow the Gran Turismo through to come into the final corner. Picture in picture, we can see that's our battle for the race lead. Robbie Stapleford had managed to pull a few tenths over Lewis Dykes, but that's come crushing back down. And the McLaren is now within firing distance of making a move on our race-leading BMW as they come in towards Sunset. Dykes in second place now in the Mob 7 Esports car, where he's been for the majority of the race, bar the opening couple of laps when Will Dendy was leading out front. Stapleford and Dykes locked together on the road, seemingly blow for blow in terms of pace. Their last lap times around the 4.5 kilometre circuit, bear in mind it's a 110-second lap if you're quick enough, separated by 0.02 of a second. Shows you just how close these two drivers are matched. Potentially shows why Dykes hasn't been able to get a move done yet. He's just blow for blow, half apart. An equal match for Robbie Stapleford. Leads the way down the hill, through Mineshaft, into the Crocodiles, over to the left-hand side, then you're braking, turning, adjusting your line into the right-hander, and then running over the curb on the exit. Race leaders have got a bit of a way to go before they start catching more traffic, but any instance might throw cars, lapped cars into the mix. As Dykes almost has to get out of it there on the way in. That, or he was trying to line up his exit and really maximise the toe and the straight line speed on the run down towards turn 1, and if he was doing so, it looks to have worked. The gap is coming down as they go through the kink and in towards Crowthorne. It's not quite enough for Dykes to be able to make that move up the inside. Indeed, something daring around the outside and hope to shut the door on the way up through the Just K sweep. Benjamin Simmers with the meat and flame emojis in the YouTube chat. It's brilliant. Yes, plenty of porkers on the barbecue. So they come up towards sunset. Now, bright blue skies here. It is 4:30 local time, so this corner name isn't quite living up to its character, because as you round that corner in the late evening, the sun is setting over the crest, over the mountain top that's to the ahead of the drivers as they exit the fast right-hander. And once the sun dips below the summit of the surrounding scenery, it's a lot easier to spot your line into Clubhouse. But when the sun is low in the sky and yet to really fall behind the mountain top there, it is a difficult corner, and you'll understand why it's called sunset if you're racing in those conditions. Adam Isalovic, though, still looking for a way past Dimitri Schenk. Denty did get through and clears up the road now, so he's up to P8, just going out of shot at the top of your screen there. He's also made his way past Richardson. So he's up to P8. He's got 3.9 seconds to overturn to Dave Hedges in the number 88 McLaren. As Dimitri Schenk runs wide on the middle part of Leekop, and on the exit, Isalovic looks to the inside. They're going to run side by side through Mineshaft. Both cars bouncing on the suspension. Schenk 2 wheels on the grass as they come into the braking zone for the Crocodiles. There's a little bit of paint exchange between the two of them, and on the exit the order is resumed. Schenk holds on to the position, albeit with a very sturdy defence of his spot. Once that top 10 finish, as they come around the final corner and onto the start-finish straight. Here's Rich Pixley. Now he's continuing his climb up the order. He's just made his way past Simon Pike. That's for P23. Was inside the top 10. Was in P6 on the grid, so it's a shame to see him down the order. Hasn't quite been able to display the same pace as Will Dendy in his climb through the field. Nonetheless, great to see Pixley still out there ticking off the laps. Now, drama at turn 1 or down at the Crowthorne corner there. That looked like Thomas van Schaik running on. Then behind Zander Vale looked to get quite crossed up on the run into the braking zone. And losing out the position to Danny de Swartz, number 57 Camaro, as they go up towards sunset. Now, there is a driver that unfortunately I can't see on the timing board on the left-hand side of my screen. And fortunately, he is connected via our race radio to be able to speak to him. Now, Chris, I'm not quite sure where you are on track, but how's the race going so far?
Just across the start-finish race line. I'm in 36th. I've had a disaster, as normally happens to me. You know what I said earlier on about you can hit that sausage curb? I'm staying away from it now, because I spun and hit the wall.
Is that the hard way?
Yeah, so I'm carrying a lot of damage. So yeah, it's not going to plan, but yeah, it's still fun.
Absolutely. The front end of the McLaren looks a little bit sad, but fingers crossed it's all smiles inside.
Always.
A change of car for you, Chris. How is the McLaren?
It's very nice. It's a nice bluish colour, isn't it? Beautifully skinned by my teammate, Mr. Pike, who's I think he's just said was in 23rd place. Or has he dropped down to 24th now? 24th now, yeah. And whilst I've got you as an advantage, how's my other teammates, Patrick Treffers and Joris Evelings, if you don't mind?
Absolutely no problem. Thanks to our one listener, Chris Hill, for sending in questions to the radio show this evening. Patrick Treffers is in P26. And your other teammate, sorry, was
Joris Evelines.
Joris, yep, just finding him 30th. So you're all in this same kind of 10, 15 positions, just outside the top 20. So,
thank you very much.
No problem. The weather is nice, 20 degrees, 25 track temperature, if you needed to know that as well.
Thank you.
Well, we'll press on. We'll let Chris crack on as well in P36 in a dynamic motorsport McLaren. 5 seconds up the road is Pierce in the 435 Cayman. Now, as our battle for the lead getting on, Robbie Stapleford looks to have pulled a few tenths on Lewis Dykes now in the last couple of laps. It's now up to 4 tenths of a second. Now, just shows you how close this race has been that I've described that gap as opening up to, and the biggest it's been. That's how close it has. The race has played out so far between the leading duo.
Thanks.
We're going to have a replay, and Chris hearing the broadcast information as well. It's a replay of his crash, unfortunately, into cheaters. Oh, 2 wheels over the curb, bit of a hop, skip and a jump, and then off to the right-hand side and into the wall. Very, very easily done through the right-hander at the cheaters. Chris having to wait as well to let the train by before he resumed racing action. Here's Rich Pixley then continuing his climb up the order. This race undone with contact at the hairpin at Leacott. He's still racing away in the number 80 Wild Things Racing machine. It's got Verhoeven in front in the 86 Audi. They ran down the hill in towards Crowthorne. So half the race completed, half the race to go, 29 minutes and 15 seconds. Let's give you a run through our race order. It's Robbie Stapleford who leads the way. Gap of, well, there it is on screen, a couple of car lengths. In numerical form, it's 0.458 of a second, 4:07 now as they cross through the next sector split. The number 81 BMW picking up the baton from Will Dendy, who suffered a drive-through penalty handed to him immediately at the race start, so our pole sitter dropping down the order but continues his climb. Stapleford and Dykes on your screen as they come across the line to complete lap 17, I believe. Then it's Kieran Vidago. He rounds out your podium, has dropped back from the leading pair over this most recent 15 minutes of the race. He's now 6.2 seconds off Lewis Dykes, but still in podium position, and he's got a healthy advantage over Aaron Martin Pilkington in the number 112 Audi, 9.4 seconds back to our reigning SRHI GT4 champion. Then it's the Aston Martin of Yannick Moller that completes your top 5. For company, he's got Regan Mitchell's Maserati, Dave Hedges' McLaren in 7th. They're all fairly close together, a second or 9/10 separating them. And back from Hedges, it's 1.2 seconds back to Will Dendy, who has absolutely decimated that advantage that Hedges had in P7. Here he is, the Mob 7 Esports driver. He's been setting a rigorous pace in the last 14 laps since his drive-through. He's been averaging a 1:51.1. Bear in mind, he's been making passes, making overtaking manoeuvres. He's only, on average, 3/10 off our race leaders in terms of pace. The gap has continued to go out, but of course that is expected with Dendy in traffic. It's 15 seconds or so after his drive-through penalty. It's now out to 21 seconds. He's a man on a mission, though, as he looks to close in on the pack in front. Then it's Richardson in 9th place ahead of Dimitri Schenk, who rounds out our top 10. As that looks like a move for the lead. Lewis Dykes potentially going to the inside at the Crocodiles. And on the exit, Stapleford managing to get the power down and hold on to the race lead. We just caught the end of that one, but they had definitely exchanged some sort of interaction there on the run down the hill through Mineshaft and into the tight right-hander. I say tight, it's so open on the run into the corner, but through the apex and on the exit it really narrows up. one of these circuits that's had a modern redesign. Features those wide open braking zones to encourage overtaking attempts. Often find though that it's one line through the apex, and on exit the track narrows up and you run out of room to really hold a move around the outside. It's not to say we won't see it tried again. We won't see drivers make it successfully. They will, and I'm sure these GT4 competitors will be giving that a good go. Any passing opportunity is an opportunity in these cars. As they come into Clubhouse, then Stapleford holds on to his lead, but it's a clear statement of intent from Dykes. He did want to make that pass. 25 minutes and 3/4 to go. And inside this second half, no pit stop required. Traffic in front now. That's Aston Martin up the road. Is the number 66 car. Currently running down in P36, Danny Herkstra, who pulls well out of the way. He's got damage to the front end of his car. Shame to see. A couple of drivers almost chewed up and spat out of the pack through those incidents. Such is the racing. Now they are catching up to our Chris Hill. Chris, this is an early warning to you that the race leaders are closing in. And if you see an opportunity to get out of the way, I advise you do so, because they're quite close together and things look to be getting heated up.
Thank you. It's nice to have a co-pilot.
Yeah, easy right into hairpin left at the bottom of the hill here, Chris.
Okay.
Further down the order, though, it's Andervale P15. Run through that top 10. Dimitri Schenk, then Adam Isalovic, Andreas Garling, Danny de Swart, Dennis Workman, and then Zandervale on your screen in that 808 Cayman. A whole train of cars on screen. Those are positions at 13. The Camaro of de Swart down through to Nicholas Malott in the number 42 Porsche Cayman. As they round the penultimate corner through the Cheetahs and into the last turn at Ingway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. 6, 7 in shot there at once. Shows just how close the order is. As our race leaders are really battling out now, their nose to tail, as they have been all race. Inset in picture, you can see Robbie Stapleford has just managed to put a couple of car lengths between him and Lewis Dykes behind. So they come up to the hairpin at Leacock. Lapped car ahead is Chris Hill, who does a stellar job of getting left and staying left. Wave to them as they go past Chris. They're nose to tail, aren't they?
Oh, yes.
So thundering through then. Down towards the right hand at the Crocodiles. And Stapleford running wide again. Now I get the feeling that that's what we saw before. Different lines through that corner. Stapleford runs out wide. Gets exit speed though as he carries it up towards Cheetahs. But Dykes is very tight on exit and tries to get the power down and get the track position as opposed to the track speed. The order just resumes though as they exit that sequence of corners. Now on the left hand side, it looks like Will Dendy has made his way through the pack. The number 28 car has now got past Hedges and Mitchells up to P6. Continues his ascent. And now he's got 3.5 seconds to Yannick Moller in front in the 143 Aston Martin. 22.5 minutes to go. Side by side, picture in picture there. That's Lewis Dykes looking to the outside at Sunset. Can he get it done? Hold on to the inside line into Clubhouse. No, Stapleford runs out wide and slams the door shut in front of the number 19 Mob 7 Esports McLaren. It looked like Dykes was flashing the lights there on the exit of the left-hander at Clubhouse. BMW glanced across the nose of the car, lucky to avoid contact. There's a lapped car in the way, that's Pierce, who actually pulls to the most extreme track right and gets well out of it. Good heads-up driving from the driver further down the field. And we'll run down Leacock into Mineshaft. Feeding Dykes, he's starting to get desperate to make this pass now. He closes up so much on the brakes into the Crocodiles. Such is the advantage that McLaren has on the anchors. Now with 21.5 minutes to go, let's place a bet in the YouTube chat. Who do you think will come up trumps in this battle between Stapleford and Dykes for the first race win of the season and the first race win under the Simsport Racing International banner? Be a brilliant way to start the season with a race win. It's not the only race win that will matter though in the run through this very competitive championship. Thomas van Schaik on the exit of Leekop over to the right hand side. He goes through the grass. A couple of other cars skipping through the turf as well. Traffic jam on the run down the hill into the mine shaft. Nicholas Malott getting through. Ridge Pixley behind now in P22. He's up the inside. Malott passing Thomas van Schaik on the brakes and holding on to the position on the exit. Aaron Van Drunen in the chat, he thinks Robbie Stapleford's going to stay on top. He's going to have to put up a very sturdy defence if he's to do so. Look how close they are in the picture-in-picture, the two race leaders into the S's. The black and racing striped red BMW just able to hold the line as they run up the hill into Leekop. But look how close Lewis Dykes is. You can barely see the McLaren. He's so close, tucked under the rear wing of this BMW. Down the hill then, looking for a way past into Mineshaft. Is he just going to have to lick the stam and send it and force the hand of Robbie Stapleford? And he does, up the inside into the Crocodiles. A touch between the two of them as they go round the apex. Robbie Stapleford round the outside. Dykes lifts off to let him back through. Potentially sportsmanlike behaviour there, just to accept that maybe the move wasn't quite on. I would have said that Lewis Dykes had that done. But nonetheless, they exit the Crocodiles, exit the Cheetahs, and exit the final corner at Ingway. And it's status quo. The order stays the same. That was definitely Dykes' best opportunity. I'd love to see a replay of that because I get the feeling that really Stapleford turned into the line there and made that contact happen. I think Dykes had got the car stopped, but nonetheless, Dykes felt like he was the aggressor in that situation. Backed out and conceded the position. I'm sure he'll gather himself up and go again. Amazing racing between the top two here in the final third of this opening round of the Simsport Racing International GT4 Championship here from Kyalami. A great attempt at the pass, but didn't quite come off. I mean, I thought he had the move done. Certainly got all the work done in the braking zone. Dean Riley agrees with me. No need to give the position back there as well. Fair move. Here is the replay then. Down the hill, through Mineshaft. So we've got it in slow-mo as well from this aerial cam, just to give a good impression. Now, Stapleford braking, and Dykes gets up the inside, cars through. He's ahead. He does understeer wide slightly, but there's plenty of room on the outside there. I am surprised, in all honesty, to see Lewis Dykes give that back, if I had to offer my opinion. I'm pretty sure he would have had a very fair claim to that position. But nonetheless, I'm shouting from the virtual commentary box, these two drivers are out there on track. Oliver Anderson, Aaron Van Drunen agreeing with me as well. At least that makes four of us. I can't be the only crazy one. There's four of us idiots now on the stream agreeing with each other.
I agree.
Chris as well then, that makes it 5. Thanks, Chris. As the battle further down the order, Thomas van Schaik, who was off in the grass a few laps ago through Leekop, trying to make his way past Nicholas Malott. We often get this in GT4 machinery and really in the championships that have preceded and formed the foundations for this SSRI GT4 season, that the leaders and the top 10, say, can often splinter out. They're ahead of the drama, and so they can get clean laps in and continue on their way. But behind, the drivers behind potentially battles or get spat out of the action. You get this mid-pack where everyone is nose to tail and glued together in the middle order. Yeah, potentially a very fair point from Aaron van Drunen. Maybe it's to make up for the bump in the opening few laps of the race. Yes, maybe just so. Nonetheless, the order resume. Top two stay as they are into this final third of the race. Nicholas Malott looks to the inside of the Aston Martin of Arjen Leurmans there. Move wasn't quite on. Returns to the racing line, nails the braking point and actually closes up as Van Schaik behind gets a bit of a wiggle on the exit of Crowthorne. Up through the Just Case sweeps. Malott still looking to the inside, filling the mirrors of the Aston Martin in front. It's Medin ran. Frank Hopp comes to the rescue as well. Mads Vang in the YouTube chat. There's 8 of us now. As into the sunset bend they go. Now leading the race overall might be Robbie Stapleford, but further down, Dennis Verkman in P14 leads the AM category. Then it's Bas van Mellis, who's in P17 overall, but in the AM category podium with Evan Atafas, who's one position behind. Then Nicholas Malott on screen here, the red and black Porsche Cayman, who's battling out with the yellow and black Audi to the left of shot. They are battling it for P4 and 5 in the AM category, but 2021 in the overall spots. As Rich Pixley's continuing his recovery drive, but has been unable to make his way through the field as maybe he would have liked, and as maybe as his qualifying pace forecasted. He's rather come unstuck in a position just outside the top 20 in the number 80 Wild Things Racing car. And Ginetta looking quick here at Kyalami in qualifying, but really not been able to extract that performance over the race. Wonder if he is carrying damage from that collision at the top of the hill at Leekop. Look at this battle though. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars in shot across the start-finish line. The number 6, the 610 Motorsport Audi of Thomas Van Schaik is well in the slipstream of Nicholas Malott, and actually goes to the inside late on the brakes into Crowthorne. Can he get it stopped? Yes, but there is still room for Malott to try and hang it around the outside. Gives it a really good go up through the Just Case sweeps. It looks like Van Schaik will have the inside to barbecue, and yes, he's just able to hold on to the position. Gets the job done. A move that really took 3 corners to get signed, sealed and delivered, but nonetheless a clean pass from Van Schaik, who moves up to P4 in the AM category and inside the top 20 overall. Pixley now with the Malott Porsche dropping back as a result of that side-by-side up through barbecue. Smells an opportunity down into the S's. Hasn't been able to get it done, and by now Malott is back online and able to return to his racing rhythm. As Pixie looks to the inside into Leekop. Does he get the pass done? Yes. Sends that late on the brakes. Really good job there. I mean, Malott had to get out of it. He did see him aware suddenly that there was a Ginetta to his inside. He just about manages to get up the inside into the hairpin. But Malott has rather stayed it out around the outside, run down the hill into the Crocodile, so they have the inside line into the right-hander. And he's able to fend off the Ginetta. The number 80 car has to accept defeat and drop back into P21. P22 as they round the cheaters and into the final corner at Ingwe. Still need your bets for this race victory, because Lewis Dykes is beginning to close back up again on Robbie Stapleford after their exchange of paint. The top 2 have been in a class of their own for this race. Kieran Fidalgo, though, hasn't dropped off too much since I last mentioned the gap at the halfway point. He's 6.9 seconds, just over 7 seconds now behind the race leaders. His last lap of 50.8, but his best of 50.3. So he's got good, consistent pace as the driver of the number 71. It's into the final corner. Dykes closing up once again. And Fidalgo has had a really strong run in this podium spot. Average lap time at 51.1. Compare that to the race leaders of 50.8, and you can see how that gap has begun to form. Stapleford defends to the inside. Dykes goes to the outside. Can he get the pass done? The long way round at Crowthorne. Stapleford just drifts out wide. They're both off the track. over the white line and into the South African flag runoff area there. Stapleford defends his position off the track. A little exchange of paint once again between the pair of them. Valiant attempt from Lewis Dyke. He's probably thinking, what do I have to do to get past this BMW and take the lead in the race? Into sunset, 11 and a quarter minutes to go. If you haven't already tightened your seatbelt, I would highly recommend doing so. As I get the feeling this is going to become more and more of a roller coaster battle between the two as we head into this final 10 minutes of the race. Dyke's very close now. Run up the hill in towards Leacock. Will he try and optimise the exit? Or will he go for a move? He certainly thought about it. If the opportunity was there, I would have been surprised to see that number 19 car go for a pass. And the exit the hairpin, run down the hill into Mineshaft. Will we see another move from Dykes into the Crocodiles? I think he is a little bit too far back this time. He does definitely look to the inside. Oh, that was close. Winced there, thinking that Stapleford was just going to turn across the front nose of Dykes there and just take off the front left corner of the McLaren. Unfortunately, there was just enough space between the two of them. Into the final corner at Ingway. Nose to tail. They're going to cross the line with almost exactly 10 minutes to go. It's going to be close. 10 minutes, 2 seconds on the clock as they cross the line. But we are indeed into the final 10 minutes, the final 600 seconds of racing action here. And Lewis Dyke looks to the inside, down into Crowthorne. Can't get the pass done again. That Mob 7 Esports McLaren is filling the mirrors of Robbie Stapleford, as he has done the entire race so far. Dyke's going to have the rear end of that BMW memorised at the end of the race. By the time we reach the checkered flag, he'll be able to tell you every dent and scrape on the back of Stapleford's car and how it got there. Into the right-hander at Sunset. Dykes has got a great run through there. He's going to look to the inside at Clubhouse. He does. You can see again, he just moves to that inside line. Just shows his nose. Just suggests that maybe he's going to go for a pass in the hope that that distraction causes Stapleford to miss his mark and run wide. But Robbie has been excellent in his defence, sometimes aggressive in making sure he closes off the path and holds on to the spot. But he's definitely put up a sturdy defence to Lewis Dyke, who in turn has equalised that with an absolutely brilliant couple of attempts at a pass. He only needs one pass attempt to come off. He might see himself winning the first race of this Simsport Racing International era into the Crocodiles once again. That's definitely his best opportunity at a pass. It seems like that's where he's got the performance on the brakes. Now he needs to back time that and work 2-3 corners in advance of making that move. Getting the run through the S's and up the hill into Leacock, maybe making sure he nails the exit as opposed to the entry, sacrificing a little bit on the brakes to make sure he gets that power down in that McLaren 570 as early as he can. Use the slipstream, run down the hill into Mineshaft and get the job done at the Crocodiles, which he so nearly did before. Those are the ingredients. Now mix them all together. Easier said than done, I'm well aware of it. Here's his teammate though, Will Dendy, now up past Yannick Muller and into the top 5 on the timing screens with 7 3/4 minutes to go. And down the hill, is he going to look for a way past Aaron Martin Pilkington? He certainly gives it a go. A side-by-side for the race lead. Lewis Dykes again looks to the outside at Sunset. He's got brilliant momentum on the middle part of the corner. Crucially, he's still alongside Robbie Stapleford. He's got the line into Clubhouse. Can he get it done side-by-side? The nose is ahead of the BMW. But they are still door-to-door into the S's. Stapleford's going to be brave to hang it out around the outside, and he's certainly trying. But I think Dykes has just done enough. On the exit of the right-hander, they climb the hill to Leacock. 3 corners, 4 corners side-by-side. Into the hairpin. Dykes has the inside. The BMW Stapleford's on the outside. Dykes is just able to slow the car on the apex and try and block off the cutback from the BMW driver, and does so on the exit down towards Mineshaft. For the first time in this race, Dykes leads the way and doesn't have a BMW in front of him. Down towards the Crocodiles, if he can maximise this final sector, he might be able to pull a gap. Stapleford closes up on the brake, nearly hits the rear bumper, of Dykes into the right-hander. Now through Cheetah, they've got traffic in front. That's Jan-Paul Eikelenboom's Mercedes just ahead. Into the final corner at Ingwe. Blue flags waving. Dykes will be hoping that Mercedes gets out the way as quickly as possible. Compromised exit and a little bit of a slipstream offered to Robbie Stapleford. For the first time this race, across the start-finish line, Lewis Dykes leads the way down the hill through the kink and in towards Crowthorne. Can he hold on to the position? Yes, I get the feeling now that he's managed to just stave off a counter-attack from Stapleford. He's managed to get the move done and really get it on lock now as he heads up the hill in towards Barbecue. Another car to pass. That's the Porsche Cayman in front. The black car with orange rims. I think that's Cooper as they come into Sunset, the corner where Dykes really had to be brave and hold it around the outside. He wants to get past this Cayman and sends it up the inside into Clubhouse. The Cayman is getting the blue flags but still tries to hold it around the outside. Then there's two wheels on the grass trying to slow down. Stapleford compromised into the left-hander at the S's. Both drivers having a difficult run in passing the lapped car. And as they run up the hill, I think Stapleford's got the momentum on the climb. Up to Leacock, looks to the inside, tries to go late on the brakes. Up into the left-handed hairpin, a little bit of contact there on the exit. Dykes is trying to hold that high line, use the momentum. And on the run down the hill, he's able to put a car length or two between himself and Stapleford. What a race, Aaron Van Drunen says in the chat. That's some tight racing from Sim Racing as well. As up the inside, Stapleford looks, there is a lane. Dykes just managing to close the door as much as he dare do so in front of the BMW. Holds onto the spot. Barely a moment to catch breath in this battle. Such is the pace of these leading drivers. Such as their attempts to beat one another in this opening race of the SSRI GT4 season. Across the line, Dykes leads another lap. 30 laps in the books. 4.5 minutes to go here at Kyalami. It's an absolute sizzler, and I get the feeling we've reached boiling point and we're going to continue on going past it. Temperature's still rising here. Stapleford all over the back bumper of Lewis Dykes on the climb up through the Just K sweeps and into the left-hander at Barbecue. Every corner is an opportunity to make a pass. Every corner is an opportunity to make a mistake and potentially relinquish the opportunity to claim the race victory in this opening round of the GT4 season. Down in towards Sunset, where Lewis Dykes set up a spectacular move that took 4 corners to complete, but it all began with an epic run around the outside of the fast right-hander. Traffic up ahead, that's Stefan Arvidsson's Porsche Cayman. He's soon to be receiving blue flags. If he was to take my advice, he'd make sure he's still well clear of the 8-wheel battle car that's behind. Kieran Vidago has taken time out of the leading pack as well as they battle. Lewis Dykes and Robbie Stapleford lost easily 2 seconds to the number 71 McLaren, who's rounding out your podium positions. Potentially being kinder to his tyres, kinder to the rubber at the start of the race. He's going to pay back in this final 3 minutes. I believe we're going to get 2 more laps here at Kyalami. 2 more laps. Like I say, if you didn't have your seatbelt tightened, I recommend just tightening it a little bit more, so keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. This is going to be an absolute crescendo of a finish. No time to grab breath as Arvidsson moves over to the left-hand side. He's veering, I believe, caused a little bit of distraction there for Lewis Dykes, who runs wide on the exit of the final corner. They're both 3/10 separated as they come across the line. Run down the hill in towards Crowthorne. Another lapped car has been dispatched, and they're able to get on with their battle between the pair of them. Vidago has lost that time that he's gained on the previous couple of laps. I wonder if a mistake came about in that final sector, and looking at the lap times, he lost easily 0.7 of a second just on the run through Mineshaft, Crocodiles, Cheetahs and the final corner at Ingwe. So a mistake from that number 71 car, or at least the symptoms of it. Dykes leads the way, Stapleford second, Vidago, Moller, Aaron Martin, Pilkington your top 3. Dendy looks to the inside to grab that final spot inside the top 5 for an Aaron Martin Pilkington's 112 Audi. Then it's Dave Hedges, 3.3 seconds back. Regan Mitchell, Richardson and Isalovic rounding out your top 10 positions. Schenk, Garland, De Swart, Werkman, who leads the AM category. Vale back at Bas van Mellis, second in class, with Evan Atafas rounding out your AM category podium, albeit in P18 overall. Some great racing throughout the field here in this GT4 Championship. As I get the feeling Dykes has done just enough now to put the car lengths he needs between himself and Robbie Stapleford, who's going to get one more lap at it, one more tour, one more 4.529 kilometre lap to get a pass done and claim race victory in this first round of the Simsport Racing International GT4 Championship. Riding on board with the 81 BMW into the final corner, closes up under the brakes. This is it, boys. One lap to settle who wins this opening race of the season. In the slipstream, Robbie Stapleford picking up the tow on the run down to Crowthorne. Does he dare send it in late and drop the anchor as late as he dares? He certainly does. He goes to the inside. Dykes closes off the lane, opts just to run slightly wide off the racing line to ensure survival through the first turn at Crowthorne. Up the hill into the Just K sweeps, and on the inside into Barbecue. Stapleford looks to it, but swooping around the outside, Dykes commits to his line, carries some momentum, and crucially holds on to the position. Run down towards Sunset, 3-4 car lengths between them. 0.6 is the gap. That's the biggest it's been all race as they run through the fast right-hander and in towards Clubhouse. Dykes, I think, has done just enough, but he'll have to stave off the defence in these last few corners. Run up towards the S's. A tricky corner, tricky left-right. You don't want to push too hard through here. He needs to do the job he's been doing all race. Sounds easy, difficult to execute. Runs out of the right-hander. Stapleford's the man who's got to be aggressive now to close the gap, and I don't think he'll be able to do it. As they rise over the crest and into Leacop, Dykes nails the braking zone again as well. Clips his apex perfectly, power down. Stapleford behind, just doesn't have the momentum now to close up on our race leader. He's a sector away from the checkered flag. Run down the hill through Mineshaft. The braking zone where he's been oh so confident all race. He's now got a second, or best part of, as he heads into the final three corners. Exit of the Crocodiles, up over the crest into Cheetah. Don't clip that curb, stay well away from it, and he does so. Lewis Dykes into the final corner at Ingway. What a race this has been. From green flag to checkered flag, we've had way too much to talk about in this opening round of the Simsport Racing International GT4 Championship. Lewis Dyke collects the checkered flag and wins the opening race of the season. An incredible offensive drive and an incredible defensive drive in that second half of the race. Robbie Stapleford second. He led so much of this round at Kyalami, but it wasn't enough to stop Dykes making that move and taking the race victory. Kieran Fidago rounds out your podium. A great drive from the 71 McLaren SSRI machine. Yannick Moller and Will Dendy round out your top 5. Dendy, who had that drive through, our pole sitter, dropped outside the top 15, climbs back into the top 5 positions. Then it's Aaron Martin Pilkington and Dave Hedges. Then this trio on the screen, nose to tail across the line. Mitchell, Isalovic and Richardson rounding out your top 10 position. Fantastic driving from those all through the grid. Then it's Dennis Berkman, who just in front of Xander Vale will pick up the first race victory in the AM category this season, ahead of Geordie Backer in the 777 Cayman. Then it's Bas van Mellis and Evan Atafas who complete your AM category podium in position 17 and 18 overall. Arjen Lermans, Rich Pixley, Thomas Van Schaik and Nicholas Mert, your top 22. They were waiting on Verhoeven. And it looks like there's been an incident for Pope on the run to the line. She dropped down a handful of positions there just as the checkered flags were being collected. De Kaiser Neutling's Pike tractor. And completing your order, we've got Utley Arverton, Cooper, Eikelenbu, Evelyn's Patrick Vance in 34th. Then it's Chris Hill in 35th position with Piers Herkstra at Vestenberg. Your final finisher, our retirements from that race, Cameron Fife, Suke Verbat and Frank Hopp, the latter, the McLaren, involved in that drama very early on. shame to see him retire after only one lap completed. So, Chris Hill, you are out the car. You are successful in reaching the checkered flag in the first race of the season. There was plenty of action in that one. I'm sure you heard a lot of that. How are you doing after your first race?
Tired. It sounded awesome. I can't wait to watch it back. You did as you usually do, a sterling job of talking all the way through. And did you miss me in the commentary box?
Very, very much so, because I needed to take this thing called a breath. I could have really done with breathing in at some point throughout that. Unable to do so, but nonetheless, a really exciting battle. But down the order, Chris, yes, albeit outside the top 30 positions, but I'm sure you saw plenty of action at the start as well. How was that race start? We spoke about it before the race went green. Difficult opening section of sector to navigate with so many cars out there on track.
I was just trying to avoid anybody. I didn't want to cause any incidents, didn't want to be involved in any incidents, but there was quite a few that was spinning in front of me, and I was hoping to take a few spots, which I did during that period, but then at my own little incident at I won't say roomy race, because I still had fun. Although we didn't battle too much, I was quite pleased to be trying to catch Sam throughout the race, and then we started getting laps. So I saw all the what they called leaders. That's them. Saw all the leaders coming past, and was quite respectful as much as I could be, and got out of the way as quick as possible. So congratulations to Lewis, Robbie and Kieran, our first podium in SSRI.
Absolutely. Well, let's hear from our race victors, our podium positions from the race this evening. Let's go first to our race winner, Mob 7 esports driver, Lewis Dykes. Lewis, I'm sure you are smiling from ear to ear after 60 minutes at Kyalami, but I get the feeling that was a difficult race to win. You and Robbie were locked together for the entirety of that one. How are you doing?
Yeah, you could say that was hard. It was great. I bottled quali, which wasn't ideal. And then just P3 off the start. A little bit of a mishap, and then just got in the groove. Saw enough of a BMW that I could probably draw it on a piece of paper by now. But yeah, great race and good battle with Robbie, to be fair. Good job.
Now, I did say during commentary something very similar. I said that you would know the rear of that BMW, every dent and scrape on it to memory, like the back of your hand.
Yeah,
there was one opportunity though that I wanted to talk to you about. One moment in that race. Now, you went to the inside of Robbie, down the hill into the crocodiles at the right-hander. Now, it looked like you'd got the move done, and there was a little bit of contact. And on exit, you slowed up and gave the position back. What happened there?
Well, funny story. I wasn't actually meant to send it. I sort of had a look and braked too late. Luckily, Robbie gave me the room because his lateral line was to go in from sort of a bigger angle. And then a little bit of contact. So I just didn't feel that was a worthy enough overtake. I had Michael in my ear saying it was fine. And then I was a bit like, this is my opportunity gone now. So had to claw back a second and a bit. And I did, and then sent it around the outside, and job done, really. That was, it probably would have been clean, but I don't like to win battles via a bit of contact and slows the other driver down, so just felt it was fair that I gave the position back and gave him a fair opportunity to defend.
And then that move for the race win, it really was 4 corners in the making, but it started with going around the outside at sunset. Hard, fair racing between the pair of you. You must be looking forward to what this season has to offer.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm hoping is that the McLaren we can get it in a good window for the next race. It was good fun. That BMW looks an absolute pain to drive, if I'm being honest, so we'll see how Robbie goes, but then next week it will probably swing the other way in GT3 with the BMW being better than the McLaren, so can't win everything, but hopefully it'll be another good battle in 2 weeks, is it? Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks indeed. Well, thank you, Lewis, for joining us post-race, and congratulations, race victory.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
Go to the driver in second place. Someone has to finish second. Robbie Stapleford, a really great drive from you. You led the majority of that event, and it just all kind of seemed to fall apart at the end. Lewis got past, and you gave it a really good go to get back through, but no door was open enough. How was your race this evening?
Yeah, it was a really good race. Got a decent start, to be fair, and then Will obviously got a drive through, so got given first when he obviously pitted for that, and then just me and Lewis were battling all way, and then I just kept on making silly mistakes and going wide, and for some reason in the BMW I just lose so much time. We're looking at the McLaren, and when he goes wide he just gains it. I'm like, what? And then it's just eventually it was going to happen, and it did.
Right, it was a really hearted defence from you. There was a number of opportunities where you closed off the door and really made your intentions known that he wasn't going to get past easily. As a driver, you've done plenty of sim racing. Do you prefer to be the aggressor, or do you not mind getting stuck in with some defensive duties?
Don't mind, to be fair. It's probably, I haven't really done it much because obviously I've been out in front in GT3s in the last season or two, so it's been good trying to actually battle this time. But hopefully there's more in the upcoming races.
Brilliant stuff. Well, there's no better way to start the season than a podium, but I'm sure you'll be back fighting for the race victory next time. Thank you, Robbie, for joining us.
Yeah, cheers guys, thank you.
Go to our P3 finisher, Kieran Vidago. Kieran, you're on the rostrum. You must be pleased with that. I get the feeling, though, that you would have been even more pleased if that audacious attempt around the outside of Sunset on the opening lap had come off. How was your race this evening?
Yeah, it was. First two laps were interesting, weren't they? There was a lot of battling going on. That would have been, probably my only opportunity was to get ahead in those first two laps and then try and defend for the whole of the race. But I just didn't have the pace. So those two guys, they're crazy quick, and I think ultimate pace I can keep up with them, but just they're so consistent. Like I make a few little mistakes, and they're just a second down the road at that point. Nothing really I can do. I was just hoping on both of them battling as much as possible, because when I did see them battle, they would lose about a second, so I could make up a bit of time there. I was just hoping for a bit more, but they didn't battle enough for me. So I had a boring race, but good all in all.
Yeah, it did look like you had very strong performance. The gap kind of went up to around 6 seconds and stayed there across the 60 minutes. How was the McLaren?
Oh yeah, it's a dream. It's just stable. You just don't brake too late in it, because the brakes aren't particularly amazing. But if you brake early, ride the brake pedal a little bit into the corner and then coast through the mid corner, you get a really good lap time out of it. It's pretty fun to drive.
A podium to name, points of course, towards a strong finish in the championship. Next time out at the Nürburgring, 8th of February. It's a 75-minute event with a pit stop. How do you think that pit stop's going to play into the competition?
It's going to be interesting. We've got 25 seconds for fuel and 30 seconds for tyres. So it's going to be interesting whether you might go for an undercut. You say, I was 6 seconds back here. If I'd been a little bit closer, maybe a no fuel pit stop would have put me ahead, and maybe a bit of defensive driving could have got me a win. So a bit of strategy might really help me next week or 2 weeks time.
We look forward to seeing how it plays out. Congratulations, Kieran Vidago, P3.
Thank you.
Now let's go over to our AM category winner, Dennis Workman, P14 overall. Dennis, first race in the number 222 Mercedes here in the GT4 Championship. A class win to your name, but it looked like you were involved in all kinds of action throughout the 60 minutes. How was your race?
It was good. First time driving the Mercedes, coming from the Porsche, from the SVTI community. I need to get used to the car a bit, but my quality was, I think, decent. And the race, I had a lot of close battles, but I tried to get out of trouble because I was already on the first on P1 in the AM class from I think lap 3 onwards. So I tried to stay a little bit out of trouble, and I let the guys have just fight and keep up with the others and stay ahead of the others. And of course on my teammate bus. That's the goal.
Yes, first challenge is always to beat your teammate, isn't it? Like you say, switching from the Porsche to the Merc for this championship. What really stood out to you as the main difference between the two cars? Obviously, they're very different in their design, but in terms of being behind the wheel, what were your feelings that, what were you experiencing that was very different?
I drive a lot of GT3 as well, and the main difference I feel is that the Merc is more in line in terms of gear shifting with the GT3s compared to the Porsche, and that makes it easy to switch every week, let's say.
Okay, interesting to learn the GT3 experience helping with the Merc. Next race, as you may have heard, Nürburgring. Do you reckon you'll be able to pick up another winning category?
Maybe. Let's see what happens. Of course, I will shoot for a P1. Yes, definitely.
Excellent stuff. Look forward to seeing it. Thank you very much, Dennis, for joining us post-race.
Thanks, Tim.
We'll go over to second place finisher in the AM category, Bas van Mellis, who is reigning AM class champion from SRHI. Bas, first race of the season. You are the man to beat in the AM class. P2, only one person ahead of you, and it was your teammate Dennis. How was your race this evening?
Hi Tim. Well, first of all, congratulations on Lewis, Robbie and Kieran for the top 3 overall, and Dennis obviously on the class win, which is a great result and well deserved. It was quite an eventful race, especially in the first few laps. There was quite some how do you say, some traffic and people being in the way of each other. But towards the halfway point, I was getting more in my rhythm. I could get decent lap times in, and I believe I was, I think, about 10 seconds behind Nicolas Milot and a few others, and they had a contact in the top hairpin, and I could get the advantage from that. So I went back to second place in class, where I was driving, I believe, fourth in class throughout the race, and then I could drive decent pace until the end.
Now, like I said, you are reigning AM category champion, carrying over from the pre-merger championship at SRHI. Now, does that mean that this season, you want to defend your title, or with the increased competition, the bigger field, are you just out there to get the best result in each race and enjoy the level of competition?
Well, obviously, it's all about having fun together, and I do believe that the field is really strong this year. If you look at, I believe in qualifying, the top 15 was within half a second or something like that. So you can see that there's definitely a lot of talent in the championship this year. Also in the AM category, Dennis obviously was pro last year in the SRHI championship, and he switched cars, which obviously cost him some speed. But I do think that with Dennis we can have a nice fight for the AM championship. But obviously the most important thing is having fun and clean racing. So we're aiming to do a bit of both.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the category podium in this first race, Baz. Look forward to seeing you next time out.
Thank you very much, Tim, and have a nice evening. And thanks again for the nice commentary, the whole team.
Thank you very much, Baz. Yeah, it's an exciting race to have commentated on. Well, it's great to hear from all the drivers then. Post-race, the first round of our SSRI era, the first race under the banner of Simsport Racing International, this GT4 championship, getting the opportunity to kick-start this chapter for both communities. If you are watching on and you have enjoyed, why not hit subscribe to the Simsport Racing International YouTube channel? Like the video as well. There's been plenty of you watching, over 20 consistently throughout this, and there's not over 20 likes on that video. So before you head off to bed, if you could hit that thumb below the video and give us another like, it really helps out. We are a growing community here at Simsport Racing International. Like I say, over 1,000 members now, and it's great to have all of your support, and we do truly appreciate it. The next race in terms of the calendar for the community is the end of this week. We have the first round of the SSRI 2.4 hour series that kicks off at Kyalami, a team event, something that I'm sure a number of the community will be looking to get involved in. And before, on the 1st of February, our GT3 Championship kicks off from the Imola circuit next week. That's Tuesday evening. But on screen, you can see the rest of the GT4 series events. We go to Nürburgring in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks after that, Misano. Then Zandvoort for the middle race of the season, back to the 60-minute format for the round in Holland. Then it's Silverstone, Imola, and we finish off with a double at Donington to round out the season. Closing thoughts then from our driver on the race radio, Mr. Chris Hill. Chris, I know you were racing, of course, this evening, but you certainly heard that there was plenty of action. Shop window for the rest of the season, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and it's great to hear from the top three guys, Lewis, Robbie, and Kieran. They sounded like they had fun. Let's put it that way, and it also sounded like you had fun watching it and commentating on it. So I'm pleased we've made not a spectacle. That's the wrong word. I want to. What's the word I want for tonight? A good impression.
There we go.
For the first round. So thank you to everybody that's watched and subscribed, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. That like number has increased since I demanded that people press the like button, so it's worked. Thank you very much for those who have given that thumbs up post race. Really do appreciate it, and the whole community and broadcast team here do. I'd like to say a massive thanks to Tom van der Meer for operating the cameras this evening. I've been Tim Fulbrick leading the commentary. We've had Chris Hill, driver and part-time commentator during the races when we decide to try and distract him. From everyone here at the Simsport Racing International community, thank you very much for joining us for what was an absolutely spellbinding first race of the GT4 Championship season. And if that is a taste of what's to come, then I'm licking my lips already. Join us at the end of this week for the 2.4-hour series from Kyalami, and Tuesday next week for the opening round of the GT3 season from Imola. But until then, thank you very much for joining, and good night.